Well, punters, it's the final week of the racing season.
What a season it's been, Jake the Snake.
This time next week, the horses will be a year old. Mick, any highlights off the top of your head of the season?
Oh, not off the top of my head, no.
I probably shouldn't have done that to you, but I did. And bugger you. I think So You Think was, as I just spat everywhere, So You Think was probably my highlight of the year. I thought that was outstanding for a horse, a 3-year-old to win, not even turned 3.
Honourable Kind's Morphettville in January was a highlight for me.
So You Think, at his 5th start, I thought that was an amazing effort, and Bart had a wonderful season. Yeah. We've been saying it the last few weeks, but you get that waft of spring in the nostrils.
Aroma.
Bletchingly Stakes, the big feature this weekend. We'll talk about the Bletchingly in a minute after we get all the news from Nat over at the news desk.
Thanks, Jake. Legendary horse Farlap has been given the honour of carrying the top weight of 60 kilograms in the fictional Greatest Ever Melbourne Cup. The field of 24, which includes 3-time Cup winner Makybe Diva, was unveiled at the Melbourne Museum on Wednesday as part of the launch of the book The Story of the Melbourne Cup, Australia's greatest race. Bart Cummings has backed Len Boss to ride Faint Perfume throughout her spring campaign, with Boss hopeful of winning a 4th Melbourne Cup. And Peter Moody's star 3-year-old Reward for Effort will miss Saturday's Bletchingly Stakes at Caulfield after Moody decided to rest the colt following his first up win in the Monash Stakes at Caulfield 2 weeks ago. And that's the latest from me, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Nat. That's interesting news about Faint Perfume. I was of the opinion or under the understanding that Bart Cummings wasn't a fan of Glenn Boss having yanked him off So You Think and a few others in the autumn. Interesting to have the ride throughout the spring.
More to come, I think.
Really?
Like Rod, I think Bossy might find he's only been booked for 1 race.
Is that right? Why is that? Can you shed any light?
Well, Roddy's the rider. Roddy rides that horse. I think he can't make the weight in the Caulfield Cup.
But if a horse is being aimed at the Caulfield Cup, why wouldn't you have the rider that's going to ride him in the Caulfield Cup steer in the lead-in?
I think Michael Rod probably is best suited to getting her into that race in the best of her form and fitness, I think. Fair
enough. Shark, this
Bossy
week...
can just warm the seat in the Caulfield Cup.
Right. Very good. Bletchingly Stakes this weekend. Velocity is a favourite at $3.50 presently. Shootout $3.70. The much hyped shootout after a wonderful autumn campaign. Tolospree, another one resuming at $8. Illumino, another one from the Moody's stable at $8.50. Keno $9. Stands out 10. Royal Ida 11. Mr. Baritone, who ran a place in this race last year at 13. Secret Flyer 15. Very even race.
Value, Jake.
Which way are you heading with your selection? Nick and why?
I think Velocity's a deserved favourite, but $3.40 first up, she can find a bit of trouble first up. She has done in the past, and Shootout is going to be aimed at bigger races, obviously, so he'll probably need this. I think there's value to be found with Tolospree at about $8 and Royal Ida at 11s. Yep. That was a very good run. First up in the Monash, we were there, we saw it, some through less blurry eyes than others. But look, I think he is big overs at $11. Even stands out, he ran some terrific sectionals in that Monash Stakes.
Yeah.
And not one of my horses, but he could be a blouser.
Stands out and Royal Ida both got home really well in that race. And I actually had something on Keno that day, and he sort of has a sprinted, then stopped, and sprinted and stopped, and
Jekyll and Hyde, that horse.
Was only ahead from the winner on the line, and I'd be tempted to have something on him again after that run. Velocity's, I'm not quite sure whether she's up to this company. I know she won the Goodwood. I'm just
she's up to it.
I prefer to wait and see with her. She's unproven, I think. She's won a lot of mares company.
Yeah, I don't know. This isn't exactly a vintage field.
No, that's right. We got Shootout. He could sprint really well fresh. He won the Royal Sovereign over this trip in Sydney against arguably a better crop of talent. And look, apparently he has prime to go first up. Obviously not his main target, but horses like him tend to sprint well fresh. But as you said, a lot of value in that race, even down to Mr. Baritone, who's coming off a reasonable campaign in Brisbane in the winter. Did the same thing last year and ran a place in this race, Shark. Don't shake your head at me.
Okay, I won't say anything. Just waiting for Fillets to come home.
Fillets ran a place when I... absolutely he did. He did.
Check that one, punters. Check that for
And the Rosebud is the feature in Sydney on the weekend. Obviously a lead-up or a launching pad to the Golden Rose in about a month's time. Crossbow was an impressive first-up winner for the Gay Waterhouse Camp last start the same day as the Monash Stakes, $2.20. Sasa and How Do You Do It, $6.50 behind him, and I Love This City, $7.50. I think on a heavy track, which is the sort of ground he won on last start, Crossbow will be very, very difficult to beat in this race.
Correct, but by the time this goes to air, I don't think there'll be 650 left for Sasa, because as soon as I'm finished this, I'm going to go and snap it up. I think it's a very good horse.
So it was about 4 minutes ago that you actually realised he was running this weekend.
Correct, and now I'm on in a big way.
Outstanding. It'd be remiss of us, Shark, not to quickly head north to Darwin, where I believe
Indeed.
you'll be heading in the near future as well. Honourable Kine, any chance in his race on Saturday?
I hope so, because he hasn't been going well. I think he's been beaten a total of 40 lengths at his last 2 starts, so it's fair to say he's racing a little below his best.
And I assume you'll be there at Fanny Bay on Saturday to watch him?
No, I'll be barramundi fishing, so that
Right.
probably gives you a guide as to how I think he'll go.
So is that indicative of your trip to Darwin? It's got nothing to do with the racing whatsoever? But
There's
extracurricular
fishing
activities?
to be done, and there's a list of animals that I'm going to eat.
Okay, I'll ask you no more about
Ticking
that.
the
It's
boxes.
the Palmerston Sprint on Saturday and the Darwin Cup on Monday. The Chariots of Fire is on at Menangle tomorrow night as well,
Interesting
Shark.
to hear your thoughts on this race, Jake.
Well, look, Make Mine Cullen is a $3 favourite. He'll be hard to beat, as will Harley Earl at $4.20. I'm a Rocket Star, though. Perth Galloper.
Right, you've done some homework
A standard
on this.
bred. I'm a big fan of the standard breds. Don't you worry about that.
Wow. Credibility ratings just gone through the floor.
Apparently, I'm a Rocket Star's been burning up the track, and I think it's the best value in that race at $5. Mick will find out what your Betfair Big Spruik is just after we catch up with Nat again and get her Betfair Big Spruik of this weekend.
The Betfair.
Okay guys, my Betfair Big Spruik this week is Velocite in the Bletchingly Stakes. I think she's a really classy mare who's had a really impressive summer-autumn campaign. She's won 3 of her last 4 starts, including the Goodwood over 1,200 metres back in May, and I definitely think she'll be a challenger on Saturday.
Thanks a lot, Nat. I'm going to steer clear of Velocity and that race, I think, unlike Nat Shark, but I know you have a different opinion than I. What's your Betfair Big Spruik of the week?
Can I have 2?
Of course you can.
Okay. I'm going to have Tollisbury each way at around the $8. I think that is terrific.
In the Bletchingly?
Terrific value in the Bletchingly. And then we'll go to the Palmerston Sprint, and my old mate Lukey Murrell has a share in a horse called Steal the Cash at around $16, and I think it will run a massive race. So good on you, Lukey, if you're watching.
Murrell. On your cobber. I think Crossbow will be very hard to beat in the Rosebud after a sensational first up win a couple of weeks ago. And congratulations to Nash Rawiller, who will win the Sydney Premiership, his first Premiership. Congratulations, Nash.
And to Luke Nolan.
To Al Nolan as well in Victoria.
And Peter Moody.
And the first Caulfield trainer to do so since 1976 or something.
Wow.
And the first one who's not a Hayes or a Friedman or some such as well. Terrific effort. Crossbow is my Betfair Big Spruik, as is I'm a Rocket Star in the Chariots of Fire at Menangle on
Heard it
Friday
here
night.
first.
Good on you, punters. Have a good weekend and best of luck. We'll catch up with you again soon.